Social stories are a teaching strategy that teachers can use to assist children with communication difficulties. New situations can be difficult for even the most articulate of adults. Now add in a child who has a developmental delay or a diagnosis of autism, and these situations become nearly impossible. So this tool is one that teachers can use in the classroom, have them readily available in order to assist these children. Social stories are stories that teachers write to help students negotiate specific situations that are encountered in the classroom. They tell children what is going to happen, why it's going to happen, and the best way that they can enter or leave a situation. Communication is very difficult for children with speech delays, developmental delays, or for children that are on the autism spectrum. Most social stories contain two categories of sentences, one that describes and one that directs. It is more important to have a social story describe a situation more than direct it. For example, cleaning up toys is one of the jobs in the preschool. That's a descriptive. The teacher may say, "It is time to clean up." That's a descriptive. When I hear this, I know I have a job to do. That's a directive. When all the toys are put away, I have done my job. That's a descriptive. Social stories should be individualized for each child, keeping the language simple, using pictures that the child is familiar with. Real pictures are best, but if a child is familiar with a communication system, using those pictures works just as well. Social stories can be used in a variety of ways. If you are using a book, it is recommended to make a book of sturdy material so that it can be used daily by children within the classroom. Also, adding accommodations such as tabs for turning the page or stiff cardboard will make it easier for children who have fine motor issues. This is an example of a social story used by one of the children in my classroom. He had a lot of anxiety about getting on the bus to go home because he didn't know what was expected of him as he entered the bus. So my speech pathologist and myself drew up this book to help him so that he would understand what was coming, so that when that task happened, he had less anxiety. We would go over it and read it toward the end of the day a couple of times, and then also carry the book out to the bus so we could still go page by page as the events were happening. We chose to use pictures of other children as opposed to pictures of himself because we needed to make it in a timely manner. This book eased his anxiety and he was able to get on the bus without having a meltdown. Another example of social stories that I have used in my classroom are sentence strips. This happens to be for that same child who has difficulty when it becomes someone else's turn, or when he's asked to do something that he doesn't want to do, or if he doesn't want to leave another situation that he's already in. So these were sentences that we reviewed at the beginning of the day. Before something that I knew would trigger a reaction for him, I would pull him over and we would review those as well. There were many times that I could see him thinking as things were happening and reciting these sentences in his head, and then would turn and look at me and say, "Yes, please," as opposed to yelling at me, which was something that he used to do. I've also used social cue cards, which I hang on a ring, and I can carry them around with me in the classroom. And if I could sense a situation coming up, I could flash him a card saying no yelling or quiet words, or a face that I was happy when something did happen, so that way I didn't have to interrupt his flow of thinking as he was working through the situation. There are many books that have templates from social stories if you don't have the time or you don't know where to begin to make one. They are ones that you can simply copy and put onto a poster board. You can insert the child's name. A lot of them already have the symbols, so you don't have to go on the internet to try to find them or use something such as Boardmaker. After reading and rereading the story, allow them to role play, so that way they can get a sense of what might happen in that situation. Obviously, you cannot predict every situation that is going to be happening, but if this child is anything like the child that I had, you always could tell which situations were going to set him off. So by doing this over and over again, it allowed him to be able to see how things would play out in the classroom. With all of the technology today, a lot of smart boards and computers and iPads can be used to also make social stories. It makes it a little bit easier. A lot of iPads have apps that all you have to do is plug in a little bit of the information. It will automatically create the social story for you, and then it's just a matter of printing it out. Or if you desire to use the iPad within the classroom, you can use it that way too. So then you don't have to print it out and have it get ripped or torn as the children are using it. Well, social stories have primarily been used with children on autism spectrum disorder or with developmental delays. It has also been shown that normally developing children can also benefit from their use. A study in an article done by Tricia Benish and Ronald Bramlett showed typically developing children that had some aggression issues within the classroom benefited by using these social stories, because it allowed them to see what was going to happen and how the outcome was going to come, so that they had less anxiety about that situation. They also felt that they were more connected with those students and with their other students and wanted to use it just to promote a cohesive and socially aware classroom.